Hey everyone, ready for some serious success secrets?
I hope so.
We're diving deep into Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich.
Ah, the classic.
Now, I know it came out way back in 37, but Hill spent like 20 years interviewing these huge EE successes.
Oh, yeah. Carnegie, Edison.
Exactly, figuring out their secret sauce. It wasn't just luck, right?
Nope. What's fascinating is Hill found almost a formula for success.
Oh, tell me more.
He laid out 13 principles, and they're not all about money. It's about achieving any goal,
Okay, so let's unpack this. Principle number one, desire. But Hill calls it burning desire, not just wanting something.
It's deeper.
Way deeper. That can't stop thinking about it kind of drive.
He even gives a method to cultivate that.
Oh, lay it on me.
Visualize your success crystal clear on what you want.
So like vision boards and stuff.
Kinda. But Hill was huge on writing goals down, almost like a contract with yourself.
I like that. A contract holds you accountable. But then you need a plan too, right?
For sure. But there's also faith.
Okay, but isn't blind faith a bit risky? How does Hill handle that?
Great question. Hill's faith isn't about ignoring reality or logic. It's believing in achieving your desire and
Yeah.
conditioning your subconscious mind.
So how do you actually do that?
He talks about daily affirmations. Repeat statements about your goals like they've already happened.
Whoa! So you're kind of tricking your brain a little.
In a way, it's like athletes visualizing winning before the game.
Ah, makes sense. It's like rewiring your brain with consistent action, new thought habits that support your goals.
Right.
So that brings us to autosuggestion. Self-talk with a purpose.
Exactly. Hill was all about telling yourself you've already achieved the goal.
Isn't that a bit, I don't want to say delusional, but is there a risk of too much fantasy, not enough work?
It's a balance. Hill says autosuggestion works best with action.
Okay, so it's not a shortcut.
No. It reinforces positive beliefs, overcomes those doubts. It's a tool alongside hard work.
Gotcha. So we've got the fuel of desire, the belief of faith, and this power of self-talk. What's next on Hill's list?
Specialized knowledge. He separates it from general knowledge. You need targeted skills to succeed.
So, like, being a jack of all trades doesn't cut it.
Not according to Hill. Generalists get left behind. To win, you got to be a master of one thing.
Makes you think, right? How often do we spread ourselves thin instead of going deep on one skill?
Right. And that means lifelong learning is key. Why?
Oh, yeah. Books, courses, mentors, always room to grow.
Hill believed in that strongly. Become a true master.
And then he brings in imagination, the currency of ideas.
He loved that. Using imagination to solve problems, come up with the new stuff.
Don't be afraid to think big, out of the box, even if it seems impossible at first.
So true. What's one creative idea you've had lately but haven't acted on?
Ooh, good question. Makes you think. We let so many ideas fade away, don't we?
All the time. And Hill reminds us imagination is where all great things begin.
But once you've got that idea, you need a plan. That's organized planning, right?
Yep, principle number 6.
Ditch the daydreams. Hill says success needs a written plan, deadlines,
And accountability. He was big on that.
like someone to keep you on track.
Exactly. He had this idea of a mastermind group.
Oh yeah, I've heard of those. Like a support group, but for success.
Kinda. People with diverse skills, challenging and supporting each other.
So you're saying success is rarely solo. We need our squad.
100%. That support system makes a huge difference.
All right, let's talk decision making. Hill was all about deciding quickly, sticking to it.
He said, decisive people change their minds slowly, but decide quickly.
Catchy. Procrastination is the enemy then.
Big time. Indecision blocks success. Make choices and move forward.
So what decision have you been putting off? Maybe take Hill's advice. Just make the call. You never know what could happen. This actually reminds me of, it's funny how fear stops us from even small decisions sometimes. But Hill was right. That leap of faith gets things going. So I was going to tell you this story about decision-making and fear. It was way back when I first started podcasting. I had this show idea, but I was terrified to put myself out there.
Oh, I feel that. What happened?
I kept making excuses, doubting myself, delaying the launch.
So what changed?
I just hit a wall, you know? Realized my fear was all in my head.
We're our own worst critics.
Totally. So deep breath, hit publish on that first episode.
And
The world didn't end.
of course not. But you learned from it, I bet.
Huge lesson.
Yeah.
Just take action. And it fits with Hill's next principle, persistence.
Oh, number 8.
Yep. Hill believed failure is just feedback, not the end. Just a detour. This is where that burning desire kicks in, right?
To have that drive to keep going when it gets tough.
So don't quit just because there's a bump in the road.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to go it alone. Hill loved those mastermind groups.
Principle number 9, right? Our success squad.
That's the one. People who push you forward, different skills, perspectives.
Like a personal board of advisors cheering you on.
I like that.
We talked about it with planning too, right? No one succeeds alone.
So true. We need people who believe in us, challenge us, help us see our blind spots. Makes you think, who are WE spending the most time with? Uplifting or holding us back?
Deep question.
Oh.
We become like the people we're around. Got to surround ourselves with good energy.
For sure. Speaking of energy, let's talk about the subconscious mind.
I was just going to say that Hill was fascinated by the subconscious, right?
Absolutely.
Like a garden that needs tending. Got to be careful what you plant.
Because it'll OW.
He was all about feeding it positive thoughts, visualizations.
Affirmations. Didn't we touch on that with auto-suggestion?
We did.
Yeah.
So it's all connected.
Hill believed by consistently feeding our subconscious these positive messages, we shape our beliefs, actions, ultimately, our reality.
So, Alice, garbage in, garbage out, huh?
You got it. Negativity in, negativity out, but focus on the good stuff.
Then you start to see the good stuff happening.
Exactly. Opportunities appear. The subconscious doesn't know real from imagined.
It just accepts it as truth.
Yeah.
So we can program ourselves for success, and then there's the brain itself, our personal broadcasting station. This is where things get kind of trippy.
Hill's into some deep stuff here.
Yeah.
He thought thoughts were energy, like we can tap into a universal intelligence through them.
Whoa. So we're all connected through this energy network. Our thoughts literally affect the world.
That was his idea, whether it's spiritual or psychological. The point is, thoughts are powerful.
Okay, so how do we use this power? Hill said we align our thoughts with our desires, goals. Then we tap into this sixth sense.
Principle number 12.
That's right. Intuition on overdrive. But Hill didn't think it was some magical gift only some people have. It gets stronger as we practice those other principles.
Aligning more and more with our goals, beliefs, it becomes like this inner compass guiding us.
So the more I'm clear in my desires, strengthen my faith, take action, this intuition gets sharper.
Exactly. Super helpful for making decisions, navigating those challenges, seizing the right opportunities. It's that voice saying right path or wrong move.
But even with a great compass, there are still obstacles. And Hill knew that fear trips a lot of people up.
For sure. He even dedicated a whole chapter to it. Remember those 6 major fears?
Poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, getting older, and, well, death. Heavy stuff. No wonder fear can paralyze us.
But Hill's message is, we can conquer fear through action. Don't let it run our lives. It's like if you're scared of the dark, you got to turn on the light.
Face it head on. When we were talking about persistence, I shared how I beat my fear of launching my podcast. Turning point for me. Fear loses power when we confront it.
Absolutely. We're often our own worst enemies, holding ourselves back from our dreams.
Hill's principles are about taking control, realizing we create our own lives. It's not going to be easy. It takes work, courage, persistence. But it's possible.
That's what Think and Grow Rich is all about. Not a get-rich-quick scheme, a blueprint for growth, achievement, unlocking potential.
Becoming the best version of ourselves.
Exactly. And it all starts with a single thought. Now, what about you? Which principle resonates with you the most?
All right, so we're wrapping up our deep dive into Think and Grow Rich. It's one thing to understand these principles, but actually using them, that's the real test.
Oh, yeah. Knowledge without action is like a seed that never gets planted, just sits there.
True. And speaking of potential, we were talking about that sixth sense before. Sounds a bit mystical. How did Hill actually picture it?
It is interesting. Hill describes it as this intuition. The more your thoughts and actions line up with your goals, the stronger it gets.
Like a gut feeling guiding you to the right choices.
Right. Not like predicting the future, but knowing what matters most.
So, less fortune-telling, more fine-tuning our inner compass.
Exactly. And he believed the more you practice those other principles, the stronger this sense becomes, like a muscle, basically. The more you use it, the more you align everything you do with what you want, the sharper it gets.
I like that. But even with a good compass, we can still hit roadblocks. Hill was pretty real about that. Fear stops a lot of us. Remember those 6 fears he listed?
Oh, yeah, tough ones.
Poverty, criticism, ill health, losing love, getting older, and, the big one, death. Heavy stuff.
No wonder it can paralyze us.
But Hill's message was empowering. He thought fear could be beat through action. Don't let it control us. Like, if you're scared of the dark, got to turn on the light right.
Exactly.
Face it. Earlier, when we were talking about persistence, I told you how I got over my fear of launching that first podcast. Big moment for me. It showed me often fear loses its grip when we confront it.
It's a good reminder. We're our own worst enemies a lot of the time, stopping ourselves from going after what we want.
Hill's principles are about taking charge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing we can create the life we want. It's not easy. Takes work, courage.
But it is possible.
That's the heart of Think and Grow Rich, isn't it? It's not about getting rich quick. It's about growing, achieving things, being our best selves.
And it all starts with a single thought. So, as we end this deep dive, think about this. Which principle will you focus on this week? And what's one little step you can take today to put it into practice? Doesn't have to be huge, right? Start small, build from there.
Exactly. Progress over perfection. Thanks for joining us on this Think and Grow Rich journey, everyone. Until next time, keep thinking, keep growing, and keep aiming for greatness.